Hey guys, welcome to the Book and Movie channel. Welcome back to all my lovely subscribers. As I said I would, I have a graphic novel to movie for you this week. It is V for Vendetta. Let's get to it. Okay, the sequence of events is pretty much the same with some fine-tunings here and there. So we'll go in that order. First difference is the opening of the movie itself, giving us a brief history lesson on Guy Fawkes. Not in the graphic novel, but helpful for context in the movie. Then we cut to Evie getting ready for a night out and watching the insufferable Louis Prothero, then going out. All the same, until she's caught by the Fingerman. As we know from the movie, she fumbles out the oldest excuse in the book about heading over to care for a sick relative. In the book, she propositions the Fingerman because, as we find out later on in the graphic novel, the economy is so bad and the cost of living is so high, most everyone has a side hustle of dubious legality. So Evie's hooking. So the same scuffle transpires between her and said Fingerman that is interrupted by V, whose introduction is loaded almost entirely with V words and is poetic, but only in the movie. Then off they go to blow up the Old Bailey in the movie and the House of Parliament in the book. Can you ever listen to the 1812 overture without picturing the Old Bailey exploding ever again? I can't. Anyway, after that, we do cut to the party member on their Zoom call talking about ways to spin doctor this to their browbeaten subjects. While in the book, V has already spirited Evie away to his shadow gallery. In the movie, she goes to her day job at the TV studio in the Jordan Tower, where V drops in with a bomb to make his manifesto, something that happens much later in the graphic novel. What happens next is both in the book and the movie, but a little different. We get Evie's backstory. In the movie, we know that her brother died in a pandemic called the St. Mary's virus, and her parents became political. And by the way, the book takes place in 1997, and the show, well, the movie, well, right about now. Anyway, in the book, starvation and squalor overtook London just as this new world order took root. And they start rounding up anyone who wasn't tidy-whitey and toss them into prison camps. And in the book, it was Evie's mother who died of an illness when Evie was just 12, and her father was arrested, and she was sent to work in a factory and live in cramped quarters with other orphaned kids. And that's how she learned to take up hooking as a side hustle just to afford food. Then we get to the Vendetta. After Evie unpacks all that, V starts with Louis Prothero, who is a commander at the Larkhill camp before he became a televangelist. In the movie, V barged in on Prothero in the shower, made him dead, and was on his merry way. In the book, Prothero wakes up in his commander uniform, and his doll collection is set up in an incinerator. And it's those talking doll babies that say mama. So after V tells him what he did to deserve what he's getting, he activates that incinerator, and to Prothero's horror, all his doll babies go into meltdown, still saying mama, which traumatizes him and reduces him to a catatonic state where all he can do is say mama, like his dear departed doll babies. V doesn't kill him. It is right after that that V goes after the coroner, which in the movie is the third to go. But after he takes her full confession, which is a spot-on match from book to movie. It's after that, in the book only, that V blows up the Old Bailey, without any accompaniment from Evie, and after a one-sided conversation with it. Next, we get to Bishop Lilliman, who is excitedly awaiting his last little joy in both the book and the movie. It is also in the book and the movie that Evie is working undercover as said last little joy to act as a decoy, while V sneaks in to exact his vendetta. And this is also in both when Evie defects and runs from V. It's at this point in the book that V storms the Jordan Tower with a bomb and his manifesto, just as the rent-a-cop on duty is watching that goofy Storm Saxon show, and puts Guy Fawkes masks on everyone working there to escape and confuse law enforcement. And then the book cuts to where Evie ran, also in the movie, to hide out at Gordon's place for a short time, where in the book their rapport is not platonic, and he's not hiding anything in his basement that gets him on the Chancellor's shit list, nor does he really rattle the Chancellor by mocking him on his show, which is a very enjoyable addition to the movie. Anyway, what happens when Evie is spirited away from Gordon is the same in the book and the movie. She's been arrested and incarcerated, processed, shorn, tortured, and finds Valerie's toilet paper memoir. And all of Valerie's sequence of events from her childhood to her death in that very cell are a spot-on match from book to movie. It is the effect that it has sorry about that, as is the effect it has on Evie. She comes to understand the value of her own integrity and stares death in the face, only to find that the whole thing was a ruse, a stage set up to test her, break her, and remake her. And the book and movie also cut to a succession of similar yet different elements, one of them being that elaborate domino setup as Mr. Finch starts to see the writing on the wall, and what is a lot of speculation and one interview with V in disguise in the movie, and then there's time spent investigating the remains of Larkhill, alone by Inspector Finch. There's also that bespectacled little girl who spray paints bollocks, but she doesn't get shot for it. After some other moments that were in the book but not in the movie, and I understand why, they seem extraneous. We get to the final one-on-one between V and the party member whose name I didn't catch. It wasn't Creedy, who fatally wounded him. He gets Evie to plan his Viking funeral for him, just the same in the book and the movie, using the subway train, the rest of his roses, and a shit ton of explosives. And with all of London watching, he blows up Downing Street in the book and Parliament in the movie. And the book ends with Evie now living in the Shadow Gallery and taking up the mantle wearing the Guy Fawkes mask. And the movie ends with the members of the crowd taking off their masks to reveal that some of them are the ones we've seen killed off in previous scenes, as to say that they are vindicated here. And the final message delivered by both the book and the movie is that V exists in all of us. Well, that was fun. Definitely won't be my last graphic novel. And thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget the fussy but necessary like, comment, share, subscribe, sponsor if you're feeling generous. And I will see you back next week for No Country for Old Men.